saving a fortune. You're saving a fortune. No, but you're not saving a fortune. It should be the other way around because you really need to buy them. I'm not going to remember, but my father passed me on in my 30s as a senior citizen. And we went on this trip, and I noticed everyone else, my parents had this green ticket, and I had a green ticket. Everyone else had the yellow ticket. I said, hey, Daddy, why did they have? He said, oh, I said, we're senior citizens, so it'll be cheaper. So I was ready to, Daddy, how can you do this to me?
Yes. All the papers that are, so there's the supplement and there's the separate sheet. The translator issue is only if you want translation.
שברכים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, 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 שברכים גם יחד. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. ועשו לי מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם, ועשו לי מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
How good it is to be here, to be able to be together in this, our sanctuary, to be with each other. And I'll say personally, how good it is to be back. How nice it is to see you all and to be able to be together and to create this sanctuary space together in this sanctuary time, this Shabbat, this day of rest and restoration that we enjoy so much. Ordinarily, at this point, we would light our Shabbat candles, but look, we did it already because we had taught Shabbat earlier, so the candles are already lit. So we're not going to light them again now. But I do want to share that after lighting the candles, we traditionally sing, and we are about to sing, a song called Shalom Aleichem on page 13, in which we welcome the Shabbat angels. And these angels, Jewish legend tells us that on Shabbat, each of us is accompanied by two angels, let's say an optimistic angel and a pessimistic angel. And they take a look at what we are doing for Shabbat. And if we are creating Shabbat, if we are celebrating with our friends and family, if we're having a Shabbat meal, if we're saying the blessings, if we're making the day special, then the optimistic angel says, may next Shabbat be just like this one. And the pessimistic angel has to say amen to that. But if we're not observing Shabbat, if we're still running around, if we're still doing our work, if we're still isolated or alone or frazzled or whatever it is that does not feel like Shabbat, then the pessimistic angel says, may next Shabbat be just like this one. And the optimistic angel has to say, amen. We have a choice in how we make Shabbat. We have a choice in what the angels say. We have a choice in how we create our Shabbat feeling. And so being here, being together, I know that we have created the kind of Shabbat that would make the optimistic angel say, may next Shabbat be just like this, and we create together this spirit of peace and joy. And so we welcome the Shabbat angels on page 13. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharei, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Let's turn to page 19, where we find the words from Psalm 99. At the bottom of the page, the last 3 lines of the Hebrew, the last 2 lines of English. Extol Adonai, bow towards God's holy mountain. Adonai, our God, is holy.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho.
And now we are ready to welcome the Shabbat bride, so we turn to page 21. Lecha Dodi, come my beloved, to greet the bride.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, kabela olecha dodi olechat kala o penei Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad ishmiyanu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila olecha dodi olikrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש בקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה אוהי לך אדוני אוהי לקראת כלה אוהי פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורן קומי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה אוהי לך אדוני אוהי לקראת כלה אוהי פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה אוהי לך אדוני אוהי לקראת כלה אוהי פני שבת נקבלה יי די 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 יי די די
We stay standing as we turn to page 27, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתגדל שמי רבה
Amen.
ויעמד דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי המיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירם בעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
Supplements on page 5. Am I awake? Leading into Baruch.
Yada dai dai dai, 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 yada dai dai dai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Yadadai dai dai, 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 yadadai dai dai.
We can be seated. And let's continue in English in the middle of page 29 on the right-hand side. Torah is a closed book until it is read with an open heart.
House of Israel, great and small, open your hearts to the words of Torah.
Torah is demanding, yet sweeter than honey, more precious than gold.
House of Israel, young and old, open yourselves, heart and soul, to its treasures.
Torah sanctifies life. It teaches us how to be human and holy.
House of Israel, near and far, cherish the eternal sign of God's love.
Torah is given each day. Each day we can choose to reject or accept it.
House of Israel, now as at Sinai, choose to accept and be blessed by its teachings.
Staying on page 29 in the Hebrew, Ahavat Olam. Give thanks for the gift of Torah, the gift of love.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavtam, Torah umitzvot, Chukim umishpatim, Otanu limadetam. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shofenu uvkumeinu, Nasiach bechukecha. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Asher Anochi Mitzavecha Hayom Al Levavecha V'shinatam Levanecha V'dibarta Bam B'shivtecha B'veitecha Uvlechtecha B'derech Uv'shochbecha Uv'kumecha Ukshartam Le'ot Al Yadecha V'hayu L'totafot Bein Einecha Uktavtam Al Mezuzot Beitecha Uvisharecha.
A rabbi who was retiring from his temple met with his successor to get to know each other and to help the incoming rabbi learn about her new congregation. After a helpful and pleasant conversation, the new rabbi asked, "So, what are you looking forward to doing once you retire?" The retiring rabbi answered, "I'm excited about finally finishing my book." The new rabbi replied, "I didn't know you were writing a book." "I'm not writing one," said the retiring rabbi. "I'm reading one." It is a sad truth of rabbinical life that outside of the ongoing study needed to fulfill routine responsibilities, the daily demands of the schedule do not leave much time for regular reading. In my office, I have a shelf full of Jewish books that I have accumulated that I have been eager but unable to read. And so one of the great joys of my sabbatical was the opportunity to take a stack of those books and actually read 10 of them. It was wonderful. and thank you. And in one of those books, I uncovered an idea that speaks to our Torah portion this week that I wanted to share. Rabbi Harold Schulweis, the longtime leader of a large congregation in Los Angeles, was renowned and respected by other rabbis and lay people alike. In 2005, to celebrate his 80th birthday, 4 other well-known rabbis joined him at his temple for 4 days of presentations and discussions about the issues facing contemporary Jewry. The teachings were distilled into a book called Jews and Judaism in the 21st Century. One topic asked if the rabbis were optimists or pessimists about the Jewish future. Rabbi Schulweis replied that the great philosopher William James had answered that question by saying that rather than optimism or pessimism, he preferred the word meliorism. Well-known word. Meliorism, like the word ameliorate, means making things better. But as opposed to optimists who believe that things will go well and get better, meliorists believe that improvement is possible, but not guaranteed. Rabbi Schulweis then took this idea and rooted it in Judaism by quoting one of his teachers, Shmuel Mirsky, who explained that in Judaism's prophetic texts, before the prophets detail their vision for the future of the Jewish community of their time, they undergird it with one word, im, if. If, the prophets proclaimed, if you behave in this way, then this future will come to pass. But if you behave in this other way, then this other future will come to pass. Our future, for better or worse, is not already carved in stone. It is up to us. And so we find ourselves in our Torah reading cycle in the middle of the book of Deuteronomy. The Israelites are about to enter the promised land, but Moses will not be going with them, so he's preparing them for what they must do and how they must live once they get there without him. And one of his favorite words is im. If you follow God's commands, then you will be blessed. But if you don't, then you'll be punished. Perhaps the best known example of this formulation falls in this week's Torah portion. It actually gets incorporated into our regular liturgy right at this spot in the service. So let's look in our Sidurim on page 30. At the bottom paragraph, in the Hebrew, we can see that the first word of the bottom paragraph is vehaya, which means it will be or it will happen. And then the next words are im shamoa. Shamoa is like shma, to listen, and im, we know, means if. So this paragraph begins, if you listen, then it will happen. And then it details what the Israelites have to do and what the result will be. So now let's look in the English. If you earnestly heed the mitzvot I give you this day, to love Adonai your God and serve God with all your heart and all your soul. In other words, if you follow God's commands, then I will favor your land with rain at the proper season, in autumn and in spring, and you will have an ample harvest of grain, wine, and oil. I will assure abundance in the fields for your cattle. You will eat to contentment. It depicts a beautiful future of prosperity and fertility and satisfaction, if they act properly. But they might not, as it continues, take care lest you be tempted to stray and to worship false gods. If that happens, the portion continues, for then Adonai's wrath will be directed against you. God will close the heavens and hold back the rain. The earth will not yield its produce. You will soon disappear from the good land which Adonai is giving you. Depending on our actions, God will make the natural world either reward or punish us, either with sufficient rain and plentiful harvests, or with devastating drought and destructive famine. While the Torah says that God will issue these consequences directly, modern liberal Judaism doesn't believe that God works that way, that God doesn't personally intervene in nature, changing nature to punish or reward us, which is why Reform Jews do not traditionally recite this paragraph in services. You know that we usually skip this and go right to page 31. Nevertheless, modern theology sees these two possible futures as the natural outcomes of how we choose to treat or mistreat our environment, following or violating God's teachings about how to take care of the world. One could certainly see the increasingly frequent extreme weather around the world and here in the US as resulting from humanity's continuing to choose poorly. If we make or start to make better choices for our climate, we can begin to create a better future for our planet. The great Jewish scholar Dr. Seuss wrote what I like to consider a powerful midrash on this portion in his book, The Lorax. He describes a one-time natural paradise that is now enduring ecological disaster brought on by rampant consumption and greed. The child who hears the Lorax narrate the destruction then learns that although the future is bleak, it is not yet inevitable. Improvement is possible if the child and like-minded people start to choose differently. But instead of if, Dr. Seuss uses the word unless, saying, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not I should have asked you to say it with me because I know you know it. We can do better if we decide to do so. Is a very small word. It's only 2 letters in Hebrew, but it raises a very large challenge for us by telling us that the future is up to us and our choices. It puts the power of our destiny in our hands. And this is a very timely reminder because we are now halfway through the month of Av. Rosh Hashanah falls only 6 weeks from tonight. As we start to reflect on the past year and consider the year ahead, Are we optimists or are we pessimists? Perhaps it would be more helpful and more accurate to be meliorists. Next year, next month, next week can be better, if we choose the right path. May we make it so. The rest of page 30 and the top of page 31 offer us ways to remember God's commandments so that we will be able to do that and create that better future. So let's continue in Hebrew on page 31 in the 6th line from the top.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם Adonai Elohechem Emet.
In our supplements on page 7, our song expressing the wonder and relief and awe that the Israelites felt as they got across the sea, leaving behind slavery in Egypt, moving into the land of freedom and choice and responsibility. Nothing can compare.
Nothing can compare. Nothing can compare. Nothing can compare. Nothing can compare. Standing on the other side of the sea of reeds, I'm beginning to believe we really can be free. Walking on the ocean floor, like walking on the air. Nothing can compare with this. Nothing can compare.
Page 34, Jewish people will keep Shabbat v'shamru.
Shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפל.
We turn to page 311. Keep a finger on page 35B. But we turn to page 311 in the spirit of the blessings that this portion offers us. We appreciate the blessings that we already enjoy and that we hope to continue to enjoy in the future. Page 311. For the blessings which you lavish upon us in forest and sea, in mountain and meadow, in rain and sun, we thank you. For the blessings you implant within us, joy and peace, meditation and laughter, we are grateful to you together. For the blessings of friendship and love, of family and community, for the blessings we ask of you and those we cannot ask, for the blessings you bestow upon us openly and those you give us in secret. For all these blessings, Creator of the universe, we thank you and are grateful to you. For the blessings we recognize and those we fail to recognize, for the blessings of our tradition and the joy of this holy Shabbat, for the blessings of return and forgiveness, of memory, of vision, and of hope, for all these blessings which surround us on every side, dear God, hear our thanks and accept our gratitude. On page 35B, we begin the Amidah. We'll start together and then continue individually through page 38 if you wish to follow the liturgy of the Siddur, or in our own hearts and minds. When we've had as much time as we'd like for our private prayers, we can be seated, but we begin by rising together on page 35B.
Adonai safatai tifta ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai safatai tifta ufia ki tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot, Umevii goel livnei bneihem, Leman shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer ufoked u'moshia u'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham ufoked Sarah, Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye metim atah rab lehoshia, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye metim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech Mashiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'hachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, v'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please bear with me and catch on as soon as you can to an Oseh Shalom you might not know yet, since I've only played it here, I think, once before. And it has, in addition to our usual Oseh Shalom words, Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, because Oseh Shalom, as it's written, as you can see at the end of the middle paragraph on page 38, it talks about God on high who brings peace, bring peace to us and to all Israel. And we say Amen. And so the idea behind these additional words, Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, is to expand the recipients of God's peace to be not only us and the people of Israel, but to all inhabitants of the world. Oseh Shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Try that. Oseh Shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. One more time. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Here's the other part. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Again. Oseh Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Back to the first one. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Page 38,
That is-
the end of the middle paragraph of the Hebrew. The
Third line from the bottom of the paragraph starts with the last word.
Oseh. So now that we found page 38, we're going to turn to the inside back cover. That's where we find the words to our prayer for healing as we turn our thoughts to our loved ones and friends who are struggling.
Misheperach avoteinu mikor abracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
This week in our Chai Shalom family, we think particularly of Phyllis Burke, Arthur Campbell, Phyllis Dillon, Jane Dunlap, Terry Dunlap, Harriet Flashenberg, Valerie Frank, Jennifer Galvin, David Glazer, Robert Gordon, Michael Gottfried, Marcia Hirsch, Mike Kamens, Cheryl Leahy, Nancy Lewis, Nancy Mayer, Jonathan Panasuk, Mark Panasuk, Saul Payne, Walter Petrish, Kimberly Phillips, Gail Rosenberg, Joseph Roth, Jan Ruderman, Michael Schreiber, Cindy Sherman, Elaine Swartz, Yonina bat David HaKohen v'Sara, Esther bat Chaim v'Goldi, Fegi bat Shlomo Nisan Halevi, Ariel bat Nachum. If there's someone who is in your hearts tonight for whom you are particularly concerned, we invite you to say that person's name aloud now. We hold all of our friends and loved ones in our hearts.
Misheperach imotenu mikor abracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing, refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
On page 148, page 148, let's join together in the prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights from your Torah, that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony, to banish hatred and bigotry, and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country. May this land, under your providence, be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen. We turn back to page 51, and we rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer bereishi, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. As we prepare for Kaddish, we recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Tonight, we remember with special affection our loved ones whose Yahrzeit will occur this coming week. Hyman Lipman, father-in-law of Doreen Lipman. Dorothy Goldstein, mother of Charlene Azer. Lucille Herr, mother of Beth Herr. Anne Ruth Fellman, grandmother of Hannah Thomas. Morris Lapidus, husband of Myra Lapidus. Aaron Levine, father of Susie Grunin. Milton Karasek, father of Ruth Karasek, and my grandfather, Donald Pele. If you are remembering someone this evening, we invite you to say that person's name aloud now. Zichronam livracha. May the memories of all our dear ones be a blessing. If you're saying Kaddish in someone's memory tonight, we ask you to rise now. In loving support of the mourners, we rise as a congregation. In gratitude to God for the gift of the lives of their loved ones, those who are mourning and those remembering someone, say Kaddish on page 52. Yitgadal v'yitkadash me Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayei chon v'yomei chon, v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekudshah barichu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all of the bereaved. We say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Rhonda, it's my pleasure to call on you to share the announcements.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
No Torah study tomorrow with Rabbi Carr. Havdalah service tomorrow will be at 7 p.m. on Zoom. A link was sent in your email. Next Thursday at 1:30 p.m. at TCS, optimize your brain health, understanding how lifestyle options and interventions can help you and your loved ones live better. Presented by Dr. Maggie Sim, a licensed psychologist at the Deanna and Sydney Wolk Center for Memory Health at Hebrew Senior Life. Refreshments will be served, open to everyone. Please RSVP to our own Ruth Albert. Save these dates and check your weekly email for detail. Thursday, August 24th. Sisterhood members and prospective members, a movie watch party for Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, the book written by Judy Bloom. Sunday, August 27th, a barbecue for Brotherhood members. Remember, information and links to all activities are included in your weekly emails on Mondays, as well as special notices. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you, Rhonda. Lest you think we forgot about this single sheet of paper, this is our final song.
Eloheinu, Ein Adonenu, Ein Malkeinu, Ein Moshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Just in case you thought that Hebrew was too hard, we've got Ladino, Old Spanish, in here as well. Eloheinu, Adonenu, Mich Malkeinu, Mich Moshienu, quien como nuestro Dios, quien como nuestro Señor, quien como nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, oremos a nuestro Dios, oremos a nuestro Señor. Oremos a nuestro Rey, oremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atahu Adonai, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Tusos nuestro Dios, Tusos nuestro Señor, Tusos nuestro Rey, Tusos nuestro Salvador.
Shabbat Shalom. We are going to continue in the foyer with Kiddush and Motzi. Anyone who is with us on YouTube can come on back to Zoom and join us in the foyer for Kiddush and Motzi.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Yasher Koach.
Back to you.
It's good to get the team back together.
It is.